out to everybody. Thank you once again for tuning into Blue Green's World. And on my quest to find interesting people here around me in Northeast Ohio, I found someone you're going to love. So, who are you? What do you do?
Well, I've had many, many hats in my lifetime, but I currently teach art, and I work at a farm store that's an organic, local-driven farm store. And I own a farm, and I'm a farmer. So I have currently 3 part-time jobs that are all-encompassing.
Okay, so let's break some of that down there. Purple Brown Store, I did a story on it, right? I get the name right?
Sasha's my boss.
And they're awesome. So let's talk a little bit about the Purple Brown Store since we talked.
Love it. They opened in 2021, October of 2021. I started there like March or April of 2022 and have been there ever since. I've had different evolutions working there of, seeing it go from really a small farm store to now Sasha has over 70 vendors in a 60 to 70 mile radius. She curates and watches the ingredients and everything she allows sold out of the store. Her priorities in farming and supporting local are just a beautiful mission. It's like you just fall in love with the whole program, and you see people come in and they're like, oh my God, I'm from out of town, because it's in the national park. And they're like, I wish we had one of these where I live. And, segue, where do you live? Oh, I live in the Pacific Northwest. And it's like, wait, you don't? So what she has is really unique. It's a gem, people come in and are like, how long have you been here? And it's a word of mouth programming, and she's looking to expand, and it's had overwhelming positive appreciation by our community. And I also get to sell my cranberries there. So as a farmer, it's also an outlet for what I do.
So a lot of people think farmers just sit around, they throw some seeds out, and all. Because I heard someone talk about that recently. What would people do if there was a world where we got basic universal income and people had nothing to do? Well, some people would be farmers. They just sit around and do nothing. No, farming's not like that. You put a lot of effort in farming, and you really, in the long run, you're not going to get the money you put into it out of it generally, but it's more the passion, it's the fun.
It truly is.
Now on the Purple Brown Store, so that's a great place for anybody that's watching this podcast now. If you want to go out with your friends, your family on a date, with your significant other, whatever it may be, hop on a train. Mm-hmm. Right now, well, when this airs, it's going to be November. Things are a little different. But the train does run. Oh,
it starts in November and does the Christmas.
So they'll still run through Christmas. Okay.
Oh, so they're running from November to December.
So when you're watching this, maybe the leaves won't be on. It's still beautiful in the snow. It's beautiful no matter what. Even if it's just gray, bland Ohio, it's still a beautiful ride down there. And you can get a lot of nice food. Food you can eat,
absolutely,
eat right there, cheeses and things of that nature. Yes. Yeah, definitely check it out. It's a great little spot. And it looks like a little barn kind of sitting there. It's got a great look to it.
It originally was part of the Cuyahoga Valley Scenic Railroad. It was like a depot storage there, so it is an old barn, trust me.
Old growth wood, the beams that are old, knotty.
My God,
it's a neat looking place. If nothing else, the architecture's drawn down there. So we're here at an undisclosed location, and you got a farm here, and people want to think, you live in the Akron, Cuyahoga Falls area. Mm-hmm. You have a city farm. There's still some woods around here, and so what do you grow in this area? What do you like to do on your farm here?
Well, most of the people on my street have 20 acres. We have between 10 and 11, and we are part of the CAUV program, which means we have a variance in our residential zoning. We are zoned agricultural. We are literally a farm. And there's things you have to provide in order to remain a farm. And we have to sell a certain amount of produce and things we grow every year. And instead of trying to beat my favorite tomatoes from Seasons Micro Farms in Kent or, other places that are just amazing, I go for the niche things. So I raise cranberries. And no, I don't need a bog. A bog is only used when you're harvesting. Cranberries weigh about as much as a piece of a styrofoam popcorn, and they float them to the surface to harvest them. Me, I'm like laboriously bending over raised beds, like pick, 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 one at a time, and it's a labor of love.
So it's not like a rake tool you can rake through it like some of the things have, and even those they probably don't work that well.
It's a ground cover. So when a cranberry goes, I don't even know how much you want to know. The way a cranberry grows, I find fascinating. Mm-hmm. There's a main plant, and from that plant comes a really long stem. That's not how the cranberries grow, though. Off of that stem, you have vertical stems coming off of that one trellis stem. The vertical stem will then flower beautifully in the spring. And from there, you get all your cranberries that, it pulls over, but you've got all of this spaghetti ground cover, and you can't really comb through it unless you're going to rip the plants up a bit. So
do those grow roots when they spread out that way? Is that how they kind of propagate and move out?
They do. You know how a strawberry
that's what I was thinking,
will
like a
put
strawberry.
out a runner
Right.
and root, and you'll have a whole nother plant.
Okay.
But in order to keep producing, you don't want to disrupt the runs because that will produce more.
Now, are these native cranberries to this area?
No.
I was just shouting, like, are there native cranberries to Ohio or something
Ohio
similar?
Has more of a high bush cranberry that looks kind of like a blueberry bush. And these are Stevens viburnum cranberries, and they're flat runners. They love cold weather. When I first started raising them about 5-6 years ago, they did way better. The prolonged heat we have triggers them to prematurely mature and go into a red blush. So I now have to start harvesting not after the first frost, which is your ideal time, but prior to that I have to start harvesting the red cranberries. And then I just either freeze them, dry them, save them, trade them. And then after the first frost, that's when they have the most sugar in them.
It kind of triggers it.
Yeah, sugar's like their antifreeze.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, we use it as a preservative, and things, so it kind of makes sense to it. Nature preservative.
But I also have over a dozen fig trees, and that was started with Andrew Pernetti, who has Cuyahoga cactus and heritage seeds, and he does growth cuttings off of them, and we were trying to see which figs we could grow in this season without having to do crazy winter overs. Ways people save them over the winter so they don't die back is they'll dig a hole, put the fig tree down in it and cover it, and then in the spring unearth them and bring them back up. We take ours just down to the ground, and Harvey Gold provides us with giant trash bags of leaves every autumn, and we cover each individual plant base with leaves to insulate it and black plastic, and it keeps it warm enough that in the spring they start over again. And so we've got at least 12 or 13 different kinds of figs we have had successfully wintering over for about 5 years now.
Do you have them outside in bare elements? There's no
Nope.
nothing over them?
No.
Do you do any in a greenhouse type thing or
Andrew Pernetti does. He has.
Do you have to cover those up? Because we have one in our high tunnel that we got, and it's growing now. And
your high tunnel shouldn't need to.
Shouldn't need to. Okay.
Yeah.
We don't keep it warm though.
Right.
It's just a plastic high tunnel.
Ours are out in the bare
and
elements.
It does radiate. Yeah.
And we just put leaves and black plastic to keep the roots warm.
And you actually cut them down to the base, and then they grow back every year. Okay.
Yeah. So when you came up the driveway to the right-hand side are 2 long rows of fig trees, and they're taller than me just from this year's growth.
On a side note, Harvey Gold,
Yeah.
I want to interview him really bad. I've been putting the feelers out here and there because I know, like, my daughter knows his granddaughter,
Ask him
or friends with
directly.
him. And I
He would
see him
do it.
everywhere, but I've never actually met him yet, and I've never
Oh, my
been introduced.
goodness.
So it's always odd for me just to cold call somebody and be like, hey, and I'm sure he probably knows who I am. He's probably
Dude,
seen the show somewhere along the
ask
line.
him.
So yeah, so if someone sees
You
this, I'm
have
going to
a
get Harvey
really
Gold
good
eventually.
art reputation, so
I'm
definitely
going to cash
don't
that check in.
Do it. Do
Because
it.
he's like one of the royalties in Akron when it comes to the music scene,
Absolutely.
So,
And he's fascinating.
And we'll get more of the music scene here in a little bit. I got a lot to talk about. Gardening here in Ohio is good. This has been
we also graze loofah.
What? Oh, loofahs. Yes. So tell me, for the people who have no idea what a loofah is, what is they? Because they think a lot.
Have
I
you
used to
ever
think
had
it was a sea sponge.
Have you ever had a sponge that was a plant and it's a loofah and they grow like as large as a caveman's arm or leg? They love pulling down trellises, and right after you see the fig orchard is these trellises that just absolutely have taken over a tree, a fence, all kinds of areas. It's a huge tunnel you can walk through. And the loofah, there's some like caveman club size. And right now they're really heavy because they're full of moisture. But as soon as they start to turn brown a little bit on the stems, it'll be time to harvest them, and you can dry them out, pull it open, wash the inside kind of pulp off of it the way an orange has a rind inside, and then shake all the seeds out. You've got this beautiful sponge, and you can cut it into different shapes and sizes. And, if you're into it, you can like just have a whole bag of them and pitch them, because they're organic and compostable.
I always thought they were sea sponges when I saw them. I had no idea. The structure is amazing to them if you sit and look at them. And yeah, it's something you can grow. They do get big. I've seen it. They're like,
They grow wonderful in
huge.
Ohio.
Somebody I knew got a house, and the garden was there when they moved in for the people moving out. And they had no idea. I'm like, oh, those are loofahs. So this has been a particularly hard year for gardening. It's been a droughty. I mean, I like for some things it's fine if you want to control water, but this has been a very dry season.
We have a well, so we can water as much as we want. But we had a lot of things we started in the house: squash, the first set of loofah, our cucumbers, edamame. All of these things we started in the house. Once they went outside, they just couldn't handle the temperature. They couldn't handle the dryness. And even with watering, we had to like start a bunch of things over with direct seed. And you'll hear this from a lot of gardeners and farmers that like things are running late, and stuff that's normally in the store, the farmers are like, we don't, we need a little more time. Like things aren't maturing. But our growing season has expanded in Ohio, and you have definitely, instead of that one growing season from spring to fall, we now have, first part of the heat wave, second part of the heat wave. And I just put in another new vegetable. It's Elaine Chin, who has Chin's recommended I do a three-stemmed spinach, and it's a tall, hollow stem with a spinach leaf at the top. And I just started those about a month ago, and
bigger spinach, better, easy picking.
right? She said it's like delicious, and it germinated beautifully and is growing fast. So that's fun.
Another person I interviewed in the past, good person. You should check her interview out and go support the restaurant.
Absolutely.
And West Hill or West Market Street, in that area. I think exactly where it's Exchange. Is it Exchange? No, it's Market Street.
Yeah.
And yeah, go check the food out. It's fantastic. You garden. We talked
Yes.
about that. And I don't know. If you don't garden, you should. If just grow something, grow a tomato
Anything.
plant, grow flowers, something. Take it from the cycle of birth to death. It is a wonder. And if you have children, do it with your kids. Teach your kids that stuff.
Absolutely.
It's,
Dig in the dirt.
Even if you don't like vegetables, you'll grow an appreciation for them. I
Yeah.
know that. I grew up gardening, though. So gardening to me comes second nature. But a lot of people, I'm surprised they have to go to gardening classes to learn how to garden. I'm like, well, but then again, over the past couple of years, I got deep into gardening, and I learned a lot of stuff that I was completely ignorant about. I didn't think about soil at all, besides adding, fertilizer. I never thought of soil being like a living being. And I made beer, and it's the same concept.
Sure.
The more you give to that beer culture, the better beer you're going to have.
Right.
The more stuff you add to your soil, which is all microbes, the better stuff you're going to have. It's not just adding NPK fertilizer and a bunch of water and hoping for the best. It's more than that. And that took a lot to learn.
It's one of those, the more you do, the more you realize there's so much more to learn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I realize I know nothing. I'm dumb as can be when it comes to things, but I think that's a good way to look at stuff.
Yeah.
Go into it that you don't know anything, because all the stuff that you taught might have been wrong. I mean, for years they told you to put eggshells in your garden, and that doesn't do anything unless you grind them things down to a pulp, put them in like maybe vinegar and let them sit for a couple days, then you might get something out of it. But eggshells, we're talking like a lifetime for them to break down calcium, and how often people do that, and it's just a lot of, I call it bro science. And it's not just, did you hear about this one? Yeah, I hear about that. And it's like, did you test it?
There's still a lot of that happening. Yeah. There really is.
And
it's
you don't
fascinating.
really know until you test it scientifically.
Exactly.
And it's hard to test stuff that grows scientifically because every seed is different that you grow unless you clone things. But still, it's hard. Anyways. And if you do garden, learn, you can learn so much.
Yeah, and
Listen
it's okay to
people.
have a bad year. Don't think it's going to be bad every time.
And learn from what that year can happen, because you can learn for next year's defense.
That's exactly what we do.
If bugs
every
hit you
year
really
we
bad,
get smarter.
Learn to get those bugs. And if you grow organic, it's easy. I guess I would say it's easy. If you want to put a bunch of chemicals on your yard and stuff and do that way, it can be, which a lot of people garden. I don't recommend that, but if you want to live in nature, it's kind of tough, and you realize where your balances are and what you can and can't do without harming stuff. Because I don't want to eat a bunch of chemicals or eat a bunch of stuff that has heavy toxins in it because I didn't know what I was putting on it. Organic means more than just, in the soil or something. There's a lot more to organic than that. So think about that in your fertilizers and the stuff that you do, or make your own fertilizers. There's a lot of things. Anyways, we're getting off topic here because we want to get to this.
But you're totally right on.
Well, thank you. We got this lovely artwork behind you here. So let's go back into the time machine. When did art come into your life? Do you remember when art came into your life?
I do. When I was in kindergarten, I was painfully shy. I literally was that kid who cried every single day and didn't want to go and was like, I won't be bad. Let me stay home with you. Like, why do I have to do this? And hated it. So I didn't relate well to kids my own age because I grew up around nobody. So I was in my head playing with my toys out in the field and swimming and doing all kinds of stuff solo. So sitting in this room with kids, it was kind of like, ooh. So I was very introvertish. And I'm sitting at my desk, and it was art time. And, back in kindergarten in the 60s, you probably art time was like 15 minutes, we only did a half a day and we took a nap. So I'm sitting there drawing, and I'm just scared to death. Like, I don't even remember my teacher's name, her face, anything. Like, I was scared of her. Like, I had probably looked at her only when she yelled at me or called me directly. And she's standing next to me, and I'm feeling this oh God, she's radiating. And she's standing with another person, and they said, see? And I was like, and she picks up what I was drawing, and she's like, she just drew that. And I realized that was the art teacher. And we didn't have art teachers. We just had the one teacher who put up with us for half a day. They talked about how I did a really nice job drawing a bear. And I just thought, oh, I'm good at something. And it wasn't like I was skilled, but being told you're good at something and given positive reinforcement in a time where you're desperately trying to figure out who you are, it became a comfort for me. I wasn't afraid. And most people have a really tough time breaking through that fear of being bad at something in order to get good. And I didn't have that because I got this sense of affirmation of it's okay. and you can do this. And I wasn't even trying. I was just drawing, which I naturally did. And honestly, I'd say kindergarten was when it was like, it became a comfort, or it wasn't like, I want to do this for my living. It was like, I get peace here. This is something that's mine.
Now, did you initially evolve that from there, and did you go to any type of schooling for that, or did you intend to go on your own route? How did that evolve?
I grew up with a family of artists and musicians. My mother could draw beautifully. My dad could do amazing lettering. Like, he would be a huge fan of Copeland if he ever saw his work. His ability to show me mathematically how to balance things really played into me being able to compose images and balance a picture. He also he encouraged it. Like, he loved the artistic side of my siblings and myself. And I could take any classes I wanted. I took a lot of different project classes. Like, my dad had a business on Front Street in Cuyahoga Falls, and kind of up the corner from his business was a ceramic studio where you would go paint ceramics. And when he'd go to work on a Saturday, I'd get to go, and he'd give him like, here, let her paint as much as this will cover. And he'd hand him some cash and be like, I'll be back when I'm done working, and I'd sit at this art studio as a little kid painting like all of these weird ceramic things, any color, any style, anything I wanted to do. And I had these older women who were running the place I could use as, what do you think about? And so my mom should have been a school teacher, because she volunteer taught like 45 years worth of Sunday school and Bible school, and over prepared every single lesson. Like, my dad would be out in the barn building, little creches that they'd put straw in before Christmas. And then on Christmas Eve, Mom and Dad are to sneak baby Jesus. And, so she had these elaborate art projects going on all the time at home. And it was one of those things where you just did them. You didn't have to get permission from a professor or teacher or professional to say, you can make art. I think a lot of people are hung up and stuck feeling they need to be given that permission. And instead, we all need to be just accepted and allowed to find our voice. Especially in the era where my kids have grown up with YouTube, Google. Like, we didn't have that. But my kids, like, my son taught himself to play classical piano from YouTube. We have a baby grand. He could play like every song from the Studio Ghibli movies because that's what interested him. So I think this is a beautiful thing that you can get that comfort from making something you feel like making. You can look up how to make it and have that information at your fingertips. You don't have to go to the library. You don't have to get a degree. I mean, degrees are great. I'm not putting that down. I wish I had a degree in fine art. I don't. But I got to grow up with it as my lifestyle. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh, completely. Full disclosure, I went to school for this stuff, and I got what I got out of it, and I finally got tired of being there and left. I mean, they wanted me to take a bunch of classes I had no interest in whatsoever that I didn't want to do. A lot of my professors really weren't that good, to be honest with you. They were just teachers that taught for a long time, but they weren't in the field and practicing. So I think going to school is great. I don't want to discourage anybody from not, but you can do it yourself, especially in today's world. Even when we were coming up, we still had the library. We could still go to the library and dive in and do things, right? But you didn't have it as easy today. Now you got YouTube, the YouTube College, and you can find just so much. So dive into your interest, especially if you're young, when you have nothing but time, nothing but time, and you're like, I'm so bored, well, dive in and learn about something that you love, something good. I also want to quantify that with something good, because who knows what people could love. And my daughter likes to watch the Jeffrey Dahmer movie, and I'm like, why are you watching that stuff? I'm like, oh, it's fascinating, Dad. I'm like, yeah, but it's gonna poison your mind. Go watch about science or something. I don't know, we're all different, I guess.
Yes.
Point out. So you grew up in an interesting family.
I did.
I only know of 3 of your family members. I know of your two brothers, yourself, and that's the 3 that I know of. And the 2 brothers are the brothers that are in Devo, and that's Mark and Bob, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're the youngest out of this family. What was it like to grow up around the evolution of the de-evolution, we'll say?
It depends on what time frame you're talking about, because, when you... Sorry, that's our dog.
That's okay.
When you are aware of Devo's trajectory, when they first started, they were so hated in this area that, you watch their documentary, they'll tell you point blank, like, people paid us to quit playing. People threw beer cans and rocks at us. People hated us and screamed, and like, get out of here. And they would call them homos, and they'd call them, bullshit stuff, and chase them out. And that was scary. I was a kid, and it was right before I graduated high school, and a couple years before that, they really started coming together, and really they had their sound. And I had bands in our family for so many years, I kind of was just like, whatever, like every night we'd hear bands practicing in the basement, in the garage or the barn, or, wherever, before they had like studio space and stuff. And so as a kid, it would just be kind of like wallpaper. And I kind of view music that way still, like wallpaper, only specific songs will really grab me. But with them as my siblings, when the hatred part from Akron was happening, I wouldn't tell people my last name. Like, I lied and made up my last name as Johnson. When I would go places, I would never say I was Mothersbaugh, because once people started recognizing it, they'd be like, oh, are you from that Devo? And I'd be like, wow, just shut up. Like, why do you feel emotional? Like, what is this hitting in you? Because their music really evoked something in people. And because they weren't, the back or Van Halen or whoever, hard rock or hair metal, or they really got treated crappy. And when I went to Akron U, I didn't meet the underground folk that, really would have been my crowd. I met all the people that were like mocking. So it was really kind of scary, because I didn't see the success right away they were having out west and in New York and with all of these producers and stuff. I just knew Akron didn't play them on the radio. Akron didn't attend their concerts. When people tell me now, like, oh, they're my favorite band, or I loved them, I want to say, name 3 of their songs, because you're lying. Where were you in the 70s and 80s? Like, everyone hated them. And there was this core group of people who loved them that still actually come together once a year to a devotional, which I'm sure you've heard of the devotionals, but like, they come together and they're like, yeah, we've bonded because we saw the value of their music and we supported them and it spoke to us. And then we had to deal with everybody's ridicule because it wasn't, rock and roll. And it was kind of weird. So that was weird. I remember the first time they were on TV, my dad ran out and bought this huge VCR recorder that was like the size of a giant suitcase with this big tape to go in. They were on Saturday Night Live, and we talked to my brothers before they performed, and afterwards they called home, and Mark's like, "Oh my God, okay, how was it?" There were a lot of close-ups, and so it was still fun because we got to live that beginning excitement with them. And honestly, I always loved their music. I just didn't want to talk to anybody about it. Or people wouldn't acknowledge me. They would say, "So how are your brothers? Tell them I said hi," and it was like, sure, okay, they don't know who the hell you are, and they're not going to care. Not to be rude, but I wouldn't say that. But I'd think, When I started my art gallery, I think it took a year and a half being interviewed regularly to not be Devo's little sister. So every interview I had, before they ever talked about what I did and where I was and things, they would talk about my brothers and ask me about them. And it's like, they're my brothers. Like, this is my family. Can I ask you about your big brothers and, your family? And honestly, we're close. We have a family text chat. Somebody's always posting something every single week. We celebrate everybody's birthdays. We all have kids. We some of them have grandkids, and we have all of these people in our chat, and we share photos and, funny things. And we have a bond, but we also have our own independence. And, when I talk to them, they'll ask me, "Hey, how's," and they'll ask about my kids. And so that's kind of fun because that's how I know them, as just big brothers.
What's great about that is that Akron didn't own them, but I knew about them way before I knew about Akron.
There you go.
I remember watching SM Live as a Saturday Live as a kid, and I was fascinated by their look, by their sound. Yeah. It was so different than most of the stuff they had on there, and I loved it. And since then, it's such popular culture. It's with the whole ridiculousness, and it's such a popular culture aspect. What I find interesting too is how at least with Mark's been influenced so many children.
Absolutely.
I think that's
so many musicians.
Wonderful.
So many musicians will credit, like Maynard from
Tool.
His first child's name is Devo. When Devo did Lollapalooza, I met Maynard, and my kids are with me and stuff, and his chicken cutlets, so to say, are in a sink of water, and it's like, yeah, okay, don't touch those. Just just leave them alone. Really nice. And he's like, "I can't tell you how much your music's meant to me." And like Tony Hawk and all these different people have come out and said how much their music meant to them. And I grew up around so many musicians. I was like, I'm never getting involved with a musician. I'm not going to get involved with a Devo fan either. And met my husband, and nobody could believe I didn't realize he was a super Devo fan. I had no idea. He even had a vanity plate with Devo on it, and he would park it so that I couldn't see his license plate. He didn't invite me to his home until we'd gone out several times because he's like, she's going to hate me. But when you meet your soulmate, you meet your soulmate.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so the moral of the story is for people, if you got something, keep up with it.
Yes.
If you got something you think's good, not everybody around you is going to recognize it. And the big thing that I've learned too from what I've done, on a minor scale here in Northeastern Ohio, your audience isn't your friends. Your audience is your audience.
Yes.
And just because I'm from Akron, don't expect everybody from Akron to love you. Don't expect all your friends to like what you do either. And that's okay. Someone will find your work. Just put it out there, as long as it's something positive and something good.
And meaningful to you, that has a message. And your work is incredibly meaningful.
Oh, thank you. And follow your heart. I mean, if you watching this and you want to interview people, do it. Go find someone to interview. I would say start with your grandparents, start with your parents.
Oh my God.
I'm going to interview my parents here. They're still alive. I'm lucky that they're young. They're pretty young. I mean, they had me when they were like 18, 20, so they're not that much older than me in theory. So I want to sit down and have an interview with them,
awesome.
And I want to do it separately too. I don't want to interview them because parents tend to like not talk around each other,
They put a little bit of padding
and I want to get like everything.
Yes.
He did this, or she did. I want to get like the story that I can, and I'm going to give it to the world.
Yeah.
I mean, it might just be for my own purposes.
I would love it.
I love telling stories, and I think,
know your dad. I think. Well, I knew your dad.
And he's still making art.
Oh my God, he's amazing.
Still doing his thing. They're still, they're great people. They're interesting. You think I'm interesting? My father's interesting too.
Absolutely.
So that's where I met you at originally. Was the 2091 correct gallery
studio?
Now
2091.
Was that in the same building that your father had?
Yes.
So okay.
Yes.
So is that so? What was it like doing 360? I guess full circle back from go do art classes to that to
it
art
was
center?
my dad. My dad had an employment agency there, and he had apartments upstairs. So I met tons of people through that. Then when my dad decided he'd rather play golf and not do this, I bought his business from him, and I ran it for another 10, 15 years, maybe 20 if I do the math. And I had a placement service. And then I moved location and became the landlord of all of these, well, for my brother Mark, landlord of all of these buildings on Front Street. And I think there were like 4 commercial and about a dozen residential spaces. And I then retired from the placement agency. The irony is I kept finding people jobs they wanted to do. And it's like, I hated mine. But I can't complain. It paid for houses and cars and caring for my children. And it allowed me to take care of my family. So then I retire. And my dad's like, you can't retire. He's like, 6 months, a year, you're going to be doing something else. And suddenly I had an art studio at Studio 2091. And I wasn't sure I could do it, but Jose Sacaritas was there. He was one of the studio artists. I was able to sit down because of my business background and come up with a great business plan. I knew I needed so many studios rented out for a certain amount of money to cover my bills, because I could never count on selling art as being to pay my bills. If it did, great, but I didn't want to have to plan art shows based on what I could sell people. I wanted to plan art shows based on what I really wanted people to see. And that was a big privilege. Jose was one of the people who had a studio space there. And he's the one who said, don't let anybody manage this for you. Run it yourself. People are going to want to walk over top of you in order to have what you have, and it's yours. And then he said, you're an artist. You really need to put your work in here. And I never had a solo show there until 9 years later. The very last one before I closed was my solo show. I promoted people all over the world. I had artists show from France, Ireland, Korea, and all over the United States. And I could show anything I want. And every month I had a main show in the front of the building, in the main gallery, and a smaller show in the back. And I would make the back show community driven. So anyone who submitted a piece to follow the theme of the show in the front, it would be displayed. And my thinking was, if I have 40 pieces of art in the back gallery, that'll be at least 40 people at the opening, and didn't realize how perfect that would work. So our art openings had 100 or more people attend it every month. And in order to be able to pay the bills month to month, I had 9 studio rental spaces, anywhere from $100 to $200 a month. And I could guarantee my income from that. And it was pretty exciting. So the last show's me. And the mayor shows up. And I had been such a supporter of all of the community events and stuff. He gave me a proclamation that January 12th was Amy Mothersbaugh Day in City of Cuyahoga Falls as a thank you for the work I'd done. How many people have a day dedicated to them?
A whole day, and that is going to be for the eternity. Wow, that's a great thing, and that gallery too. I was thinking as you're talking about it, I could see it in my head. It was like a long way back.
Hallway.
And I met a lot of good people there. And it was always a place to be, a lot of good places. I mean, people hanging out, hula hooping outside, all kinds of stuff, riding bikes around.
The Thursday Hoop Club and movies
I met Thomas
outside.
Sullivan there, He's been in films of mine.
He was huge.
And then I meet his son out doing storytelling,
Great interview, too.
Oh, thank you. Bart's a good guy.
Art is, yes.
I've seen him progress a lot in his storytelling. He's kind of shy. And getting on stage, he's a whole different person.
Yeah.
It's wonder. We talked before this started about full disclosure about me having ADHD. I was diagnosed as a child with ADD, and they wanted to put me on medication. I never did, so I had to rewire my brain.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of us out there that have this. We're on the spectrum. We'll say, I took autistic tests recently, and I didn't go too far in the autism, but I'm on the spectrum. There's no doubt. And when we're doing what we do and we love, we're just the best things ever in this world. It's when you put us in places like we don't belong, like answering the phones all day. Oh, for me personally, going to sporting events, I put headphones on. I'm it's classical music or like a podcast because it's so loud. My daughter plays volleyball, and the tournaments are the worst because there's 6 teams screaming, yelling, whistles, balls coming at you. And I never understood as a kid why I didn't like that. No one ever explained it to me. So I guess, find your passion. When you found it in kindergarten and you understood that you're able to almost hyper-focus, right? That's what I get.
Yes,
You can
I do hyper-focus.
and lose hours sometimes, or days or weeks or whatever on a project. And then it's done.
I'm all about the fine lines and just all the little tiny stippling, and I can work on a piece this big for a month and be thrilled. But I had to mesh a little bit, okay, back off, And so I don't know. A lot of people have really helped me get to where I am, and I helped a lot of people get to where they are. And just like with people saying, God, loved your brothers, they were important to me at a certain time. I can name half a dozen artists who had their first shows at Studio 21 that then went on and have done national work. And I feel really excited and proud of that. I don't have to tell anybody else's story, but there's a lot of people that, they need this and they have the voice to speak up if they just had an opportunity to do it. That's kind of what the gallery was to me. It was my community. And it was always really open arms of join the community. This isn't about me. I may have a piece or two in here, but it wasn't about me having a show all the time with my stuff being all that everybody saw. It wasn't like that. It was for all of us. And I'm really proud of that.
Giving somebody a platform is amazing. I've done several stories on people that never had a story told them ever. Never a newspaper article, nothing. They're just some artist I met somewhere or some interesting person I met somewhere. Everybody has a story. And once you give them the confidence, man, to see them light up, to see them change. And sometimes good, sometimes bad, but for the most part, it's good. Egos don't get overdrawn with people. Most people, they get, because most artists are shy inherently.
Oh, yeah.
And it pushes them a little bit further to make to accept who they are, and I am an artist. How many times I've heard that? I am an artist now. I got on this show, or I got a gallery showing, or someone bought my artwork. That's the big one,
Yes.
and someone else hung my artwork. And for you to give that feeling to somebody, that's just got to be a wonderful thing.
Well, and I have great family supporting me, emotionally through stuff. And that's really good. One of the first things I wanted to do was, remember when they had that first night in downtown Akron on New Year's Eve, and every year they would come out with like a badge or a logo or a piece of artwork. Well, I applied to be that first night artist and was sure I was going to get it. My art was so on point and everything was beautiful and it was different than what I'd seen. I did my research, different than everything they got, and I didn't get it. And I was crushed, absolutely crushed. And I told my son, Mason, who's the oldest, I was like, God, I'm so pissed. Like, I can't believe I didn't get this. This really hurts. And he's like, look at who you competed with. These are lifetime artists who have been in the news and in the spotlight quite a bit, and you're new to being in the news and in the spotlight. Be proud that people of this caliber beat you. And then you can either be bitter about it or you can come up with an even better idea next year. And I stopped and was like, oh yeah, that's what this is all about. This is not about, oh, I didn't get it, I didn't get that. It's about, but what can I do better next time? And I've kind of based my entire art philosophy on that.
So rejection hit you pretty hard?
It did. It devastated me. I was so crushed.
I feel that.
Yeah.
It's part of, they call it rejection sensitivity dysfunction or something like that. It's something that supposedly ADD people have. Like they take rejection really hard. And I told someone recently that I had something happen. It really hurt me. And I was explaining to a friend of mine, and she's like, "Well, everybody has that." I'm like, yeah, but I literally shut down for 2 months.
I was really sad.
For 2 months, I shut down and didn't want to do anything at all.
Right.
Is that normal? I don't think that is. Most people be like, whatever, just keep on rolling. And I can't do that sometimes. But it's nice to have those words of encourage for somebody because that helps you.
From my child.
And that's great. I mean, it tells you did a good job. If your kid can tell you that. My daughter gives me words of wisdom all the time. I'm like, wow, where did she get that from?
Right.
I guess I did something, or she
we
heard
got the
it.
2.0s.
But yeah, my brain's not good. Hers is way better. That's a good thing, I guess. You know. But learning to live with rejection does suck.
But what came out of that? Downtown Akron partnership, Susie Graham, contacted me and said, hey, I saw the work that you were doing for first night. Wondered if you'd be interested in doing some murals at the Akron Zoological Park. And I'm like, had no idea what I was doing, but what did I say? I'd love to. And that started about a 19-year relationship, at least 19-year relationship, doing murals and repair work and getting design things and getting to fix things up. And I'd say this is probably my first year that I'm retiring from zoo work. I'm just kind of feeling like me on the scaffolding, holding rollers, brushes, paints, and pans and buckets above my head and stuff. It's time. Other people are really, really out there and ready. But it came out of that.
That's what I wanted to ask you about how you got into that. So if you're not familiar with the zoo, at the zoo, I can think the lemur tank. You did that one,
I've done the lemur exhibit multiple times.
The jellyfish room, is that you?
I did about 2010. I started a project. They were redoing the entire aquatic area, that walk-through and the touch tank area and the entrance and exit of the buildings. And it took about 9 months from beginning to end. It was over 10,000 square feet. I pretty much had free range to do anything I wanted. They were so amazing. And I met really great people. I opened it up to community. There was 1 day a week. Girl Scouts could come in. Famous artists came in if you want me to drop names, I can. But they would do segments of painting in the design, and I would spend days drawing it out on the walls, and then they'd do all the fill-in and stuff. And some of the Girl Scout troops, I'd have to go back and repair, but it was, in my opinion, the community element. Anyone who painted on those walls came back with friends and family and said, I painted this. And that was probably one of my first important activities that I did, because it was up for at least 5 years. I had to go back and do repairs on it a couple times. And I brought in a couple art, like Tom Sullivan did a whole bunch of really beautiful metal work to go on the walls and suspend from the ceiling. And Mary Dixon from Ann Arbor, a girlfriend of mine, did a whole bunch of porcelain pieces we put on a wall and painted around them. And it was really fun. Andy Dreaming Wolf, who's a well-known, he came and he painted on the walls. Jeff Fulvomari, who is a local guy who lives up in Woodstock now, he came and did painting. And Tom Skosich, Scott Allen Evans, and Linda Radak, and like I can name tons of people who like dropped in, and it was a community. It was really fun. Oh, Shell Greenberg. She came and did tons of like fine-tune repair work. She was really on the hyper-focused detailing. Oh my gosh, she did months of that. It was really great.
I've always found that interesting about Akron. Akron has a wonderful art community that will band together and they'll help each other. I mean, you got to help. You got to ask, though. That's been my hardest problem. I never ask for help.
And you got to know how to ask. Yeah. You can't put out a call.
No.
You have to go to a person, put your hand on their shoulder and say, I need your help. Could you help me? And 8 out of 10 times, you're going to hear yes.
They'll help you. And when it comes to doing this work, if you're the person that's deciding, hey, I need mural work, trust the artist, find an artist you like, give them at least 50% or something up front. I don't know how the money, but give them money to start with the project. Don't try to pay them all at the end when it's done. Let them do what they do. You do what you do, they do what they do,
totally
you'll get a better product out of it.
Right.
If you try to micromanage something, you're going to get an angry artist that's going to give you not their best piece.
They're going to just get it over with.
Right.
I've done those.
And I've had video projects where it's like overanalyze everything. It's like, no one cares about this stuff. What are you thinking? Why have I been doing video for 30 years and no one's ever had me do what you're asking me to do? But hey, you're the client.
You want me to go buy a lighter shade of the same color because you think, okay. But the sage wisdom, again, came from my oldest kid who said, you know, this person's micromanaging you because they don't do art. They don't know how to do what you do. And this is the closest they'll get to being an artist. Let her have her moment being an artist. And it was like, okay.
And they got to find a way to manage you because they manage people, right? And they know how to manage like the person. They have to throw something at you to feel like they get their money's worth, you know. You make you scramble a little bit and panic for a day so they can get their money out of it because most people inherently think art's too expensive, and that's not all, but a lot of people do. When you can go buy crappy art at Walmart or things.
Price is negotiable. Like
if someone has a price on a wall, pay them 10% more.
Exactly.
Pay them double. I mean, if you got the money and you can afford it.
Especially if they're giving a percentage of it to a gallery.
And how many artists you see that are young artists here, they're selling their work for way, way, way lower than the value of the artwork. Mm-hmm. Buy it for 3 times the price and tell them, hey, think about changing the price of your artwork. You're worth more than this.
Want to know one of the reasons my gallery was so popular? I gave the artist 80% of the sale.
That's a big deal too, you know. That's because usually it's like a 50% rate or whatever.
Yeah, people would show there because the lion's share went to the artist the way it should.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you have the means to do an art gallery and help people out. You know, if you can teach kids artwork, that's something I taught in college and I taught like Upward Bound, but I wish I was probably doing more of that, teaching kids like about video work. I'm good with You know, if they want it, if they want to do it. I don't want to
Right.
be forced on kids that don't want to be there. That's the worst thing in the world.
I've taught that too, and that is the worst.
You want passionate kids, but it's hard to find passionate kids. You know, it really
Right.
is. They'll find you. So if you're a passionate person out there, I'm not looking for kids in general. Whatever, a passionate person wants to learn about video work, hit me up. You know, send me an email. Tell me what you want to do. Maybe I'll work with it. Maybe I won't. I can't guarantee anything, but
That's very cool.
I'd love to pass my knowledge on to somebody. I wish my daughter was into it. She's not. She knows how to do all this stuff, but she doesn't like it. It's not her thing, which kind of bums me out. But I'm learning that we're all different.
And we all show our creativity in different ways.
Oh, she's very creative
Right?
and very artistic and very good. She just
Not
doesn't want to use
surprised.
that skill because, I mean, I don't know. She wants to go into medicine and help people, which she's good at. And I had her take aptitude
that's
tests too.
terrific.
You know, I'm like, here, make sure you want to do this. She wants to do sports medicine, and she's good with people.
Very
And she
cool.
can make good money at that. And I don't think for the most part we're gonna have too much AI take over on sports medicine, especially with like the first contact and working with people. You know, maybe there'll be like a mirror we talk to and weigh us and all that stuff. But so let's see here. You do the artwork that I see you work on. You talk about intricate artwork, your insect artwork in particular.
Oh, yeah.
That's become something that you see it and you're like, oh, that's hers, and you have an old
Yes.
style going
Yes.
now.
That's my voice.
When did you find that one?
Well, towards the end of me having the studio, my mom got sick and she needed a lot of help and a lot of care. And when I would take her to doctor appointments and I would take her places and hang out and just kind of be her person, I needed something to do because I just couldn't just be there. So, sort of like the ADHD in me, I started doing sketches. And I took a lot of watercolor paper and about 8x8, 9x9, I would do drawings of things. And I was given this incredibly cool Japanese watercolor set and thought, I'm gonna do butterflies and moths and bugs, and that will challenge the watercolor to be vibrant, iridescent, subtle, like we'll see what this paint can do. But I was a line person more than a color person. So I would do my drawings and they would be horribly intricate. And then I would paint them, but then I would have a stack of these painted watercolors and I would just sit and detail them with Sharpie and microns, and the smaller the point on the pen, the better. And doing so much of that, people started noticing like the intricacy, the detail in the art. And I kept getting smaller and smaller so it would be more portable. And suddenly I had this entire body of work put together. And after my mom passed, I was at the point where my dad passed and I was going to close my gallery. And I thought, I'm going to show my bugs. So I had about 280 individually framed pieces. And I hung them all and had an art opening. And that's when I wore my monarch butterfly wings and a headband and was like just having a blast. The last show at Studio 2091. And I'm in the back talking to some people, drinking a beer, and they're like, the mayor's here. And I'm like, yeah, right. And they're like, no, really, Mayor Walters is here. And I'm like, what? Thinking, I'm in trouble because there was all of that discussion on can places serve alcohol or not. And so I'm like, hold my beer. I literally got to use that phrase, hold my beer. And I walk up and thinking it's a joke. And I'm like, hi, welcome. Like, he'd never been in there before. And he's like, hi, I just wanted to, talk to you for a minute and thank you for all the work you've done and all the contributions you've done to the city of Cuyahoga Falls. And I'm going to, present you with this proclamation of January 12th, because that's the day of the opening, is Amy Mothersbaugh Day in the city of Cuyahoga Falls. And I'm like, thinking it's a prank. So, of course, me, without a filter, I say, well, that's great. What does it get me? Do I get like a clicker for a day? Do I get to like change all the traffic lights so I have everything green and feel lucky? Or, what is this? What does this mean? And he's like, well, you have the honor of... I was like, oh my God, he's serious. Shoot, me and my big mouth.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. But he's probably the best mayor any of the small cities can boast about. He's really a huge supporter of the arts, and man, I can't say enough nice about him. He's a really great guy.
Cuyahoga Falls is doing really well now. I mean, it's.
Oh my God! Yeah, after I left.
Well, I champion Akron. I love Akron, but Akron has some violence issues. I mean, there's a lot of gunfire, a lot of gunshots in Akron. I mean, I've seen people, I heard somebody get shot outside my house and die. Watched their family come up and take the dude away. We didn't see it, but we heard everything. And that's drastic. And that's just, my one experience. There's some neighborhoods that hear that every weekend, and it's not the city's fault. I mean, the city can't change that. It's it's a product of, I don't know, culture. We got to change the way we think about a lot of stuff. But anyways, that's a whole other topic aspect. I don't want to get into gun violence. That's not where I want to go into. But I love Akron. But Cuyahoga Falls, if you got a business on Front Street, man, you're kicking ass down there.
Yeah, you're golden right now.
Geez, everybody's doing good on Front Street. And you said after you left, unfortunately. Yeah, a lot of change. Wow, since the last time I was down there, when I first met, I didn't catch the ending of the gallery. When I first came around, I was married and I had a daughter, and then
the whole family came in.
And then we separated,
great.
And then life got strange for 10 years for me, where I was just on my own, I don't know.
And you did great.
Life's different after a divorce. Let me just tell you, that's a whole different story in itself too. I mean, some people can bounce off of it and come right back and, hey, I'm here. So I took a few years to, I don't know, drift out in the ether before coming back. But anyways, I'm sorry I missed all that. I wish I could have saw all those things happen for you there. But yeah, we missed it, unfortunately.
It was really fun. And the volume that sold was huge that night. We sold at least half of what I had out.
Well, over 100, geez. Wow, geez. You hung
so
2 something.
Since then, people now collect, because I keep putting them in the same size frame, and people now collect them and want sets of them. And you saw in my other room, I have this big collection of them. Well, I got an opportunity to show at the Cleveland Botanical Garden. And I did about, 10 pieces this size, sold most of them. And I put up 230 pieces at that show. And so it would be a large panel and then 9 of the smaller ones and then a large panel. And they were all bugs and insects. And it was so beautifully displayed. It's such an incredible place. Every time I'd leave the room and walk back in, it'd be take my breath away. This is my stuff. This is how it's supposed to be seen. Not in the back of my car flipping through going, I'd like to buy 9 pieces. Cool. Where would you like to buy them? So we'll get into art classes here in a second, but are you, if someone's watching this and they have a gallery, because I'm going to be showing your artwork, and they're like, wow, I'd love to have her in my gallery. Are you still doing gallery showings? Or is this not, I don't know. Are you still doing, what's the word, pieces for people that when they pay for the... I do a lot of commissions. Commission works, there we go, that's the word, commission works. There's a couple in Japan that sent me 2 geckos from their house, and I'll be doing 2 geckos and sending them off to Japan. And so at this moment in your life, at this point, you're more giving classes and you are doing commissions. If someone were to have me watching and they want to contact you. I have 2 commissions on the table. Okay. Commissions are nice, especially when you're an established artist and it's not I need this by the 15th. It's hey, you send me the money, I'll get it to you when I can. That's and these are people that know my work. So it's not I have to go, is this okay? And a lot of times when you do commissions, it's scary because you don't know if this person doesn't like it. You just wasted 2 weeks of intense time. But that doesn't happen. They know what they're in for with mine. I've shown at Peninsula Art Academy twice and did pretty good. They gave me a wall for a while. That's awesome. Yeah, kind of fun. So
I guess I never realized that it was watercolor.
Yeah.
I thought it was marker.
No,
I thought for sure it's marker. Wow, you do some intricate watercolor. For anybody that's working with watercolor is very hard to work with. I mean, it's not the
really
easiest
fun.
medium by any means. But
But there's so many things. Blue,
you must be putting it on really thick.
Class,
Wow,
take the class, and you'll learn how to do these things.
Okay, that draws me to that next question. What is it? So what's the class? What they gonna learn? Where's it at? Give me the whole details on this.
Okay. Currently, I'm teaching watercolor. Next year, I'll also be offering beginning drawing. And I work with Melissa Sunwater, and she does management at Spiritual Life Society, which is 1 Main Street in Hudson. It's a white church that's a yoga studio on the first floor and throughout. And then they have this beautiful basement with natural lighting and a door to access and a kitchen and bathrooms. And they let me have classes down there. And so a couple months ago, I started with Watercolor 1, and I had like 11 students, and it went really well. And I taught them technique and use and how to know all of their materials and what their materials can do. Usually when you take an art class, you're given a shopping list of like a couple $100 worth of stuff. We decided, no, we want you to learn your materials, and we have a budget of $30. So for $30, you get all of the very basics, and you are taught how to make the most beautiful art with just that. How to mix your colors, how to use your brushes, when to use different things, how water is the king. It helps determine how much pigment you can put into a piece, whether you want flat, hard edges, or if you want it to have fuzzy edges to be a background kind of, less focused item. And it's 6 weeks, Watercolor 1, and we just finished week 3 of that right now, but we did the first series and it went so well, over half of the class wanted Watercolor 2. So in addition to Watercolor 1, I started doing Watercolor 2, and then some private lessons. And then that went so well, they wanted Watercolor 3. We're currently doing Watercolor 1, 2, 3, and semi-private lessons right now. And it's through Spiritual Life Society. I'll give you the link. You can visually pop it up, and it has the next series of classes that start in, I believe, mid-October. And if you can't do 6 weeks, there's a 3-week session, and we try and do daytime and evening. And what I love about this is the first class is really scary for people because you haven't done this, and you feel really every emotion of awkward that you can think of. And by the time you finish the class, you've learned tons of brush technique. You've started a mixing grid so you can see all of the things you can make with your paints that you have. And you then do a finished piece at the end using everything you just learned. So you go home with a basic wreath that you just painted. And everyone's kind of like, yeah, okay, I can do this. And they all come back. Then the next time we get a little further into washes and mixing, and we paint pussy willows in 3 different styles. And I show them and tell them and teach them the benefits of each of these different styles and when they would use them. And they've got 3 paintings of pussy willows. And this last week we did bees. And when I teach them how to do bees in my style, and then in an alternate style, I tell them, if you go home and paint this bee that's in my style every day, bring back at least 5 of them, you'll probably have one worth framing and selling for $200. And they're all, by the end of that class, they're all like, I really like this. I didn't know I could do this. And they're learning 3D and how to make shapes look rounded, and how to do shading, and how to not have so much pigment on their brush. And it just keeps getting better and better. And it's like this session just last week, this one woman's like, you know what I figured out? If I just let go, I do a good job. And I'm thinking, oh, honey, I can't wait until you paint a glass vase. Like at the end of that, it blows their mind that like, I did this. Like their quality of work is really good. And that's just watercolor 1. And it just keeps getting more intense. And usually by the end of watercolor 1, people are painting at advanced levels. And it's not like I'm magic. I'm just giving them what they need in order to do a good job and go, oh, I can do this. I don't have to feel uncomfortable, and I don't have to feel like that white paper syndrome of like, oh my God, I don't think I can do this. Like everyone kind of has a touch of that, but they come in ready and they work really hard, and it's really fun, and there's so much joy in it. I get a lot out of it.
Teaching's great.
It really is.
Especially when the people are into it and they really, you can tell when they want to be there and they walk away and they grow and they learn. Oh, it's a wonderful thing by far. And when you do work like that, it's important. Like you got to imitate at first, right? And then you learn that, I can do this just like that. I started making commercials at first, and I want to be able to make a commercial just like the commercials I'm seeing on TV. Now, granted, I didn't have the camera work they have, but I could make something very similar in my house. I'm like, wow, now you got to develop your own style.
Yeah,
and take
your
time.
Your voice.
And I think the important part of it is opening yourself up to doing the work. Half the battle is just sitting there and opening yourself up and doing it. And it'll come to you somehow, some way. I don't know if I believe it's just all out there, and once you open up, it kind of tune in like a radio, and it comes to you. I wonder sometimes.
It totally is that way.
So I've
had so many people say that what they've gotten out of these classes is a new way of thinking and looking at stuff. And they're like, I look at things and I think, oh my God, there's so many greens, and they can look back at their mixing chart and go, I can make 30 of them, that kind of thing.
Art will change your life.
It does. And just how they view the world. And I feel like, oh, that's powerful stuff, especially now. Everyone, I don't care who you are, everyone needs healing. And there's nothing more healing than doing something with your hands, doing something and creating something. I always tell them things like, okay, now you can take that wreath you just painted. If you have decent writing skills, you can put a beautiful, initial in the middle of it. You can, give these as gifts. You can never buy another card again. You can make these things from your heart. And while you're making your skills better and better and better, you've got things to give people to show them what you're doing and that they matter to you.
And nothing better than a handmade gift you give to somebody,
I agree.
There's great things. On a quick side note, a joke aspect, a friend of mine, it was a secondhand story I heard. So he got all his friends around for Christmas one year and he gave them all necklaces. And he's like, try them on. They all put the necklaces on. Oh, these are great. He made beadwork and he made it himself.
Nice.
And they had something interesting on the end that was intricate. And he was a hunter, and he dried out raccoon penises and put them on the end, and it had a little artistic look thing to it. And he gave to everybody, and he told them after it was on, hey, and they all threw them off. Like, oh God. That's a weird story to tell. These are maybe homemade gifts. Sometimes homemade gifts can be, oh, what is this? But generally speaking, homemade gifts are good. Whether it be art, whether it be making something from your garden, making some salsa, making some spices, those are wonderful gifts to give to people. And all gifts are great. Don't get me wrong, but it means a lot more when you get a gift that's handmade from somebody.
Yes, because they put love in it. They put energy into it and intention.
You pass that on to somebody. So I guess the takeaway for people that I want watching this, is pursue your passions. By all means. There's things you can do. And we are coming to a changing world that we have to find other means and aspects of incomes and things. Things are changing all the time. the job layout in the future, 20 years down the line, is a lot different than what it was when I was coming up. I don't know what kind of jobs there's going to be, what kind of things. So you might want to find your own way through art.
That is our fear talking. And the way we combat that fear is by becoming competent in something. And it doesn't matter what it is. Figure out something positive you can do and pursue it. And then find that next positive thing and pursue it. And, you know, if you're good at cooking, that's great. If you're good at art, that's great. You know, making music, that's great. And focus on creating something. And you feel like, I've done this. This is grounding for me. This will settle my fear and scary feelings of so much uncertainty and, you know, not knowing what tomorrow's going to bring, no matter who you are. You know, that can be terrifying. But if you can, today I'm going to paint some cards to give my friends and family at Christmas because I can afford to do that and I have the time and I want to make something, you know, I want to acknowledge something. And I think we're all going to go back to that simplistic independence.
And give it a try. Tune out from the world for a day and create something good.
Yeah.
Put goodness out to the world.
Agreed.
And it'll come back at you.
Yep.
It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but it'll come back at you. And even don't come back to you, who cares? Just put goodness out there, whatever it may be. Do good things. I don't know. We have too many negativities in the world right now. It's a scary place in this world. That the recording of this, you know, I don't want to get into anything crazy, but you know, it's always. This isn't a bright time in the world at this moment right now. The snapshot in time.
No matter who you
2025,
are.
Here we are, September 19th, right? 2025 for history watching this. And it's a freaky time right now. So my recommendation for people, don't get caught up in the cycle. That's what they want you to do is watch the news cycle. And fear drives us as a human instinct.
Right.
Stop it. Just let it go. Can't change it anyways, and maybe go talk to your neighbor.
Grow the peace.
Maybe go grow a flower. Go get a pet. Go get a cat from the cat shelter.
Exactly.
Something to get past to this, I dislike you because of the way you think or the way you said something or your humor level, whatever it is. We got so many things that people are just so irritated about. I don't know. Live and let live. Mind your own damn business. There's a lot of things that I think, you know, a lot of things I don't like about people, but I don't care. You know, I don't care what you do in your own house. It's none of my business, but that's like a whole tangent. We'll put good stories out there in the world. We'll hope for better. Lead by example. So we're over an hour into this. So,
oh my goodness.
Anything that you want to bring up that I haven't brought up with you so far? You might have some things you want to talk about. I think if we covered the bases on, you know, what you're doing now and whatnot. And I have a few more questions too to round it up.
I'm really lucky that I grew up in the family I did, in the towns that I have. They've given me a lot of freedom and encouragement to be who I am. It just took for me to accept it and become who I am. I would love to win the lottery. You know, there's an immature part that thinks that will solve my problems. But unless we figure out who we are and own it and thrive, the money's not going to matter. I wish I had known that a long time ago.
I mean, no matter how much money you have, happiness doesn't buy it.
Nothing.
Happiness can't be found with gold. I mean, maybe momentarily, hey, I got a lot of gold, and then eventually you're going to be the same miserable person you were before that until you get your mind straight. And I don't know what that is for everybody. Everybody's got their own different routes.
But we have this fantasy, now that we know of all of these billionaires, like, we want to do do None of us ever will.
Jeez,
so
billionaires,
we need
trillionaires now.
Right?
We're about to have a first
we need
trillionaire.
To embrace joy today and right now.
Make joy capital, you know?
Boom.
Joy should be the capital of what we work at, not money. If you get be education, learn, that brings me joy, you know, learning about things, passing information on.
You're a joyous person.
I try to be. I
Yeah.
try my damnedest. It's hard in this world. I sometimes feel like a candle on the storm on the ocean, and it's
You
raining
are.
really hard. You know, you're like,
You are.
keep
You
it going."
actually are those things, and you are succeeding in keeping the
Thank
light
you.
lit.
And that's what we need, more of that in the
Yeah.
world. More storytellers, more
Hang in
artists,
there.
more musicians, more people that just love life and want to put a good message out there. We need less angry people. We need less people, vindictive people. We need less people that want to, I don't know. We need better humans. Be a better human. If you're watching, be a better human. What's a better human? Well, it's not that hard to figure out. And if you have trouble figuring out what a good human is, well, maybe you need some help. I don't know. Not hard being a good human. I don't know why we make it so. Why can't we be good? Be kind. Be nice. Don't be an asshole. It's that simple.
No, they're all hurting in some way or another.
My problem with today's culture, we have this real asshole
pain
culture, and it's just real, like, puff my chest up. I want to fight you. Hey, buddy. Hey, bro. Why?
Yeah, yeah. That's probably my biggest heartache is when people's first reaction is to like, oh, I'm going to look for what's different and how we can fight about it. And
Turn off that monkey brain.
Yeah.
We all have it. Just turn it off.
There's a hell of a lot of scary shit happening to people we love. And we're not making light of what they're going through, but we've got to work together to find ways to get us all up that ladder rung. Yeah,
this ship together. This little private little bubble we're on that's very precious, and there's not much here. It's so precious you can literally walk off of it and die to the top of a mountain without oxygen. That's how precious we are. We can walk out of it and die.
We haven't hit the depths of the ocean's lowest, most depth. Like that freaks me out.
There's a lot of things that there's a lot. We live in a very precious place, and the science at this point is showing that we should think there should be life all over the place, but we're not seeing it.
Right.
So I mean,
or respecting it,
either. Those are whole different worlds that I think about a lot. But anyways, I try to think positive thoughts in the world.
Well, thank you. So shall I.
Another topic that I want to discuss here. Was this your childhood home?
Yes, this was our TV room. This actual room had a big sofa across one wall, and we all sat on the sofa or on the floor, and there was always a chair for Dad, and our TV was over there where I'm doing art. This was our family room.
So what? Because eventually I'm probably going to end up doing this too. There's a home my parents have, and I'm going to end up going there and taking care of the homestead.
Sure.
What was that like, coming back to this, to the homestead, and now it's yours, so to speak, and this is your legacy now.
You won't have some of the weirdness I had. This was the family repository. Like, my mom's mom, when she moved and downsized, my mom, brought all her stuff here for her. And we had, not all of it, but we had a ton of her stuff. My kids, my siblings, left stuff here. And a lot of times, your memories of what you think are at mom and dad's aren't real. We all imagined way better treasures and way better items. So, after both parents died, and I thought about it, and it was the situation that just seemed smart, seemed a good place. I wasn't going to live in Ohio, but I approached my siblings and bought out their shares and was like, okay, you guys have 9 months to a year to get all your stuff out. I can't be the curator of our family, and I kind of am. It's weird. I was walking around the kitchen, and there's places where Devo videos were shot in the living room, in the kitchen living room. We still have the same curtains that are in the videos. There's all kinds of weirdness like that. And when you first drive in, there's a big riding ring that we took the fencing down and just let it grow up to see what was in there. And parts of the property, we let at least 3 or 4 of the acres go into fields. And so walking around, I feel like I've done a decent job making it mine. But having been a childhood home, I don't notice a lot of things that are wrong with the house until someone comes over and it's like, oh yeah, I forgot. I took that curtain rod down and my spackle's like right over there. But I forgot like a year and a half ago. Or just, different things that are just aging, but they're home, so I don't think about it. Fortunately, my husband and I, we like hate spending money on anything. Like we're all into barter trade free, used, and it's not because we're cheapskates, but it's because we don't have a lot of money. People assume you do, but we don't. But we're really happy. We live a simple, frugal life. And I don't know. It's a little trippy, you know. The guest room is my sister and my old bedroom. My son is in my brother Bob's bedroom. My office is in my brother Jim's bedroom. And we have storage in what was Mark's old bedroom. And we have a workout room and music room that was my parents' bedroom. So it's like, yeah, stuff's being used. It's okay.
So,
but it's weird.
We didn't discuss where we're at. I'm not going to.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not going to put out like your address. No. I'm all about talking about your location because no one can find where you are from that. But since this has been like the family home, has anybody ever showed up here from like people from the Devo camp and like we heard this is the house?
Not since my parents passed away. But they would show up at the gallery because Devo videos were shot in the gallery. And most people don't know Devo videos were shot here, too. It was...
Hello, we got a first thing here. No, we got something new.
But people would come to the gallery and want to run up our back fire escape because the character Boogie Boy ran up the fire escape to go see General Boy. And so people would be like, oh my God, can I do that? And there was this Shine On America mural. It's in Square Records. It was on the side of my building that was the gallery. And then the city's like, you got to cover that up. It's old. And nobody could ever paint one like that again because it was a high school art teacher and his students. Insurance would not let that happen ever again. They were on scaffolding. It was crazy and iconic. And that was the building my gallery was in.
Was that a 70s project that was done?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
70s were different.
Oh, way.
Yeah, I was a child. I grew up in 73, but I remember the 70s and the 70s and early 80s for that matter. But the 70s were different, riding in the back of cars, a whole bunch of people. The stuff that they did, it's like, wow,
No seatbelts.
Yeah, my parents brought me home.
Smoking everywhere, all the time.
My parents brought me in a box, beside them in the car and put a seatbelt around it. There weren't car seats. It's amazing any of us made it out of that.
But we did, we're here. We're living proof.
Oh, we sure did. So, how do you get so much talent in your family? Wow. Some family, I think it's, you kind of said it. You expressed it and you embraced, your family embraced it.
I have a cousin, Alan Mothersbaugh, who's in Massive Hot Dog Recall, was in Twist Offs. He performs out still. He's just about 5 years younger than me.
Is this lead singer?
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
And plays trombone.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know that.
That's my little cousin, Alan.
I know, yeah, he's a great guy. Yeah.
I have a nephew, Silas Height, fascinating composer, just moved back here from LA, bought a house in Bath. It's gorgeous, mid-century modern, built a recording studio and is still doing all of the music, scoring to documentaries and shows and commercials and all this international work he's doing. It's showing up at film fests and extremely talented. Silas Height. Who else? My dad used to play clarinet in the Cuyahoga Falls Marching Band. My mom played piano. I don't know. It's just, there's a lot of us in the family that have been in bands. I'm not even naming all of my nieces and nephews who are in bands and stuff. Really talented. I have a niece who's an amazing artist. So much of my family. Just, I think it's being given that moment of encouragement to find their voice. How many people say, I can't draw a straight line? You don't have to. You don't have to. Draw what you want. Draw your heart, and that's actually power. That's power.
Do you have any idea what the family name means? What?
Yeah, Mothersbaugh is German, and it's Muttersbach, which is like mother tree or mother bough. So, tree of the mom.
Is so your family's German? Is that where a lot of that name specifically comes from?
Yeah, and my mom's family's last name is Ratzer, and they were Swiss.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I always find there's some families that just got a lot of creative people in that family, and I find that it's the embracement at a young age is what it seems to be the common thing. So if you want creativity in your family, well, turn the TV off and do artwork. Don't sit there in front of and yell at the TV all day long, and do something with your family. That's going to spur not just art. I mean, that spurs creativity. That spurs looking at engineering differently than just square boxes. Imagine if everybody just did a box for houses, how boring that would be.
Right.
Add a little art to that, you get flair to it. I don't know. I grew up in a generation where they discounted art. My dad was an artist, and he didn't push it because you can't get a job doing art. And I grew up in the Steel Valley of Ohio Valley. There wasn't many artists that I knew.
Right.
There were people that did art, but they were the art teachers.
They
and
were
none
the
of that.
dabblers, too.
Yeah, no one did anything, and there weren't beautiful murals all over the place, and there wasn't public art. You had to go to the museum to see stuff. That was it. So it was never pushed until later on. But if your kid's artistic, push them to do something with it. It's not a useless talent by any means. It's a I don't want to say God-given talent. It's something from the universe that's special, and embrace these people that have these abilities. I wish schools would if school would have recognized me when I was a child and said, this kid isn't just a hyperactive kid. They have something that they need to have a different environment.
Right.
And I could have been fostered in that. I could have been so much further than what I was. I didn't learn until I was 25, 23 I started learning. I thought I was stupid until I got to a certain age. I couldn't remember anything. I could study, still get an F. And it's because I didn't fit in the system. And I'm by no means dumb. I'm by no means, and I don't want to say dumb like it's a bad word. I mean, everybody has their levels of intelligence.
You weren't learning in the traditional environment.
And there's a lot of us.
Now, if you're super fancy rich, you can put your child into alternative environments and realize, oh, my kid just, like my kid doesn't learn this way, my kid learns this way. But most of us didn't get any of that. Like, nobody talked about that probably until like the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, that's when they started talking about, that's when I started I didn't start looking at my ADHD until like 10 years ago. Like right around when I turned 40, I started thinking about it. And it's like, wow, it filled in a lot of fill in the blanks. A lot of problems I've had in my life, a lot of issues I've had in my life is directly because of it. And if I could learn that when I was younger and someone would have pulled me inside and said, hey, it's not that bad. You just got to do things a little differently, I would have excelled so much further in my life, by far.
Your self-acceptance, too. Mm-hmm. You would have felt less excluded.
Oh, I felt excluded my whole life until
that whole isolation part of ADHD is like, so damaging.
And then you don't make good friends when you're young because you're overbearing, and teachers treat you horribly because you're too much.
Especially when you're a female and you're like that, and they're like,
I can only imagine. Yeah, it's got to be worse for women because boys are almost expected to be rambunctious, and it's just a little boy being a little boy, but a girl can't be that. But I've talked to several women that have ADHD. And a lot of them some of them did well in school is because their fathers were so incredibly strict on them.
So they had a regimentation.
Right. They figured out how to make it happen,
That's interesting.
And my parents were both, they both have their ADHD things, so they didn't know what it was. They still don't. I mean, I still have conversations with them. And if you're hearing this, we talk about this a lot because they do watch my stuff. We talk about, we are not normal. My family's different, very, very different. And the way that we act is different. I had to relearn a lot of things. Growing up with love. That's a wonderful thing. I mean, my parents love me and I love them, but they didn't express their love to me. They were of that generation that didn't express it. And that's tough, Express your love to your kid. Tell your kid you love every day. Hug them. Just call them up. Say, hey, what's up? It's just And you have wonderful children that I see that are doing all kinds of things. Don't you have a daughter that's sailing the oceans now?
Yes, one of my children lives on a yacht in the British Virgin Islands, and she and her husband take people on vacations and cruises that last several days to several weeks. And yeah.
And that's like planning everything out. You have to
That's
get all
their
the stuff on the
life.
mainland,
Yeah.
haul it out to the boat, cook on the boat, have all your water. I mean,
There's
just-
such high energy workers too that they'll take a group out on a tour, come back and have like 48 hours off, restock the boat and take another group out again. And there's a sailing season. So it's like teaching, you work 9 months out of the year and there's 3 months out of the year, you got to take off because of bad weather and hurricanes and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, it's grueling and it sounds like, oh, it's idyllic, but she's the chef. He's the captain, and she got her captain's license this year, but she's the chef, he's the captain, and it sounds like nonstop work because these people live on the boat with you.
nonstop work and probably good exercise. You're always moving around to keep yourself
They're
centered.
amazing.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen a couple posts you put about it. I mean, because that scares the hell out of me. I mean, there's a fear to me to be out in the ocean on a boat and not know what's below me. I didn't want to jump in the water. I mean, there's too many big things that could eat me down there. And I even in lakes, I don't like jumping in lakes. I'm not. I mean, I've been in several boats and I'm okay, but yeah, that's adventurous. That's an adventure.
Well, before they got married, they and another friend, so 3 of them went up to Nova Scotia, bought a boat, did all of the re-outfitting of the boat, and then sailed it down the Gulf Stream to the Virgin Islands, to the Caribbean, and going through like Bermuda Triangle and all of those scary spots, you realize there's like entire groups that will go at the same time when the passage is more clear. You may not see them anywhere around you while you're sailing, but you all check in to this on land service, and if anything's wrong, the boat that's the ship that's the whatever is the closest to you will sail to you to provide assistance. And so the feeling of like, we're out here, just the 3 of us, and we could die. Yeah, that doesn't go away, but within 24 hours or so, you can. They had to learn to sleep in 3-hour shifts because someone has to be manning the wheel literally at all times. So they did like sleep shifts, and it's so much work. It sounds like a tropical paradise, and it is, but it's hard work. Like,
I mean, there's probably moments of joy. I mean, there are lots of moments of good joy when you sit back and you have a moment, you had a meal, the ocean's great, and you're in a place that no one else is at. But that's got to be a little comforting for you, too, knowing that there's somebody out there.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, if you're by yourself in the middle of nowhere, like on the moon, no one can save you. That's a different
Right?
story than being at least someone come out there. And the world's big, but it's not that big when you think about how many boats are out there. There's a lot of boats in the ocean at one time.
Well, and it's my baby. So there's this part of me that's like, wait, can she do this? Well, of course she can. She did it. But as a mom, it's like, oh my God, you're getting so far away. It's scaring me.
I'm just experiencing that with driving now.
Right?
She got her license, and I just had to be like, she's going to drive.
trippy.
I can't. I would worry about it, but if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. So I've seen that pitch. I've seen that, and I know. I don't know if it's your youngest son, Ian. Okay, he was in a film that I created many years ago. I didn't create. I worked on many years ago.
At the Radex.
Yeah, with Linda and George, and I think George wrote that
right,
one.
yes.
I get the name of it. It was about a person finding a hand grenade and a gun.
Totally forgot about that.
And I was with Todd B. when I worked with him back in the day.
Yeah.
So that, and he was, I don't know, 12 then or something like that, 10,
Maybe.
12. He wasn't
He was
that
super tall for his age.
He was maybe 10, 8, somewhere in that range then. And how old is he now?
24.
24.
Well, this year he'll turn 20.
So what's he doing?
He's a total math person, and he's working at a cybersecurity firm in Akron.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Got a head for numbers, huh?
Absolutely.
Now, is he any on the form of like have an autistic aspect a little bit, being good with numbers? A lot of people with autism are really good with numbers. Can he see numbers? That's why I can't see numbers.
I'm going to ask him that. He's the one who taught himself to play the baby grand.
Oh yeah, there's got to be some. He has the ability to hyperfocus, if nothing else. The superpower to hyperfocus.
And he's very calm. Like, he's a comfortable, calm personality. You could be in the room with him for 2 hours and he'll have said 3 sentences, but it's not awkward. It's comfortable.
Hey, I think that's the best thing you can be in life, where you can just sit back and be in the moment. And
he's so cool.
And just be.
He's
and
totally
not be
chill.
like thinking about what you're going to say next or how somebody's thinking about me or whatever. Yeah, it's a good place to be totally chill. So those are the 2 children I know of. And how many other kids do you have?
I have 2 children older than both of them. My oldest's name is Mason, and he's a writer and does script rewrites and pretty interesting person, lives in LA, he and his wife. She's a graphic artist. She's a graphic artist and extremely talented, has done work for Yo Gabba Gabba and with Aquabats. And,
wow.
Right? And he's waiting for the big break. So if anybody out there needs an incredible script, contact Mason Mothersbaugh. He's a really talented dude. But currently he's doing a bunch of rewrites and small pieces. He also does other stuff in order to pay the bills, which is great, and then he has a younger sister. Her name is Cameron, and she has lived in more countries and states than anyone else in our family. And she is so good at living out of a suitcase. And she finished her degree at NYU and worked in administration and decided she was going to live in Hawaii and got a job after she got there at the University of Honolulu and worked there for quite a few years and has lived in San Francisco. And everywhere she goes where she accepts a job, she's such a diligent, hard worker. She works her way up. And so she's currently looking for a great opportunity, but she has a good opportunity and she's going to start working her way up through it. And I'm very close to all 4 of my kids. Cameron has probably done the most with art. She's sculptural, and she's done a whole bunch of different sculptural glass classes in New York, and she's done like fellowships and stuff in a bunch of different places. And by working at a university, it gives her access to the art department supplies. And
all very multi-talented children.
They're definitely 2.0 of anything I ever thought or dreamed of doing.
Oh, that's a wonderful thing. If your kid, I don't want to displace anybody whose kids aren't doing good. Things happen. Kids,
My kids haven't always had good things. They've all been through really hard struggles that they've had to get through and get over. I'm just not airing it.
It makes you stronger.
I'm sure they'd be like, shut up, Mom.
Struggle make you stronger. There's nothing wrong to be embarrassed of your struggles, whatever they may be.
Exactly.
We all have struggles. And if you don't have struggles, you're probably not a human. I don't know. I think we all have some struggle. And script writing, that's my passion. I'd say if I could be anything in life, I would be a script writer and a filmmaker. But it's so unrealistic for me. I've written how many scripts? I've written television series scripts, and I can't get anybody to read them or see them except for my friends. And of course, they'd be like, "Oh, that's the best thing ever." No offense to my friends, I love you for reading my stuff. Don't get me wrong, but of course, you're going to tell me it's great because you're my friend.
Well, and I love that you love it. But now let's make a movie.
Yeah, and
let's make a TV series.
And I've done a lot of movies, and now I've done my TV.
It's tough.
But it's getting people together and working with crews is tough. And I would love to be a filmmaker. I've made several. That's where my passions are. But unfortunately,
I believe it.
Haven't got the success that I've gotten with my television show, because that's other people's stories. Those are gold. I can take gold and make jewelry out of it. If I have to make gold and then make jewelry out of it, it's a whole different ballgame. That's like script writing. So I like to say that I mine people.
Yeah.
And they have gold, and they give me gold, and I create something out of it. That's what my craft has become. Wow, we've been talking
That's beautiful.
Thank you. We've been talking for about 100 minutes or so now. That's like an hour and
Well, see,
40
that's
minutes
because we haven't
or
seen
so.
each other in ages.
Well, these are podcasts that people are going to love to see. I mean, you are...
Yeah, but I just love talking to you. So this,
and vice
this could be
versa.
like a 2-day
And that's
marathon.
what this is for people that are watching. I want to travel around and talk to people that I know, that even if I don't know, interesting people that we can just sit down and have a conversation, put out there for the world. Because you're a larger than life individual. And so am I, for that matter, in our own respects. You know, people think of you and it's like this, like, oh, she's 7'5", and you know, when she opens her eyes, sunlight comes out of it, because people hear, you know, of a story of somebody and somebody. And I think for you to sit down and do an interview, because I don't think you do a lot of interviews from what I can see.
Oh, no, I don't.
And it took me a while to work
really
on you
don't.
for it, and I hate pushing people. I'm like, hey, how you doing?
Thank you for pushing me.
I
It's
text,
the only way
hey,
I
nice to
agree
see
to
you.
do stuff.
And I'm so glad you made time for me. It's tough. You know, it's tough to sit down, because it's more about the thought process of doing it. You know, oh, I got to do it. It's the dread of getting there and doing it. But I can pretty much say everybody that I've interviewed have loved it. And they've never got done and been like, oh, I hate this. Never. So it's always a fun thing. So if you're watching this and you know interesting people out there that I could talk to, someone that has, I don't know, eccentric, quirky, does something that wow, this person's here in Akron and they did that. You know, they're all over the place. We just got to find them. And this is what I'm trying to transition to.
And take it from me, he's a pleasure to talk to, and he gives you direction and makes it a comfortable situation, because I can get really like uncomfortable quick, and I'm not. I feel really
And I can talk to anybody too. I've talked to all political levels.
Yeah.
I don't care what your politics are. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care about any of that stuff. And as long as you respect me, I'll respect you, and we'll have a conversation about things, because I want to find commonality. I'm so tired of divisiveness in this world. We're all humans. We're the human race. We don't have different tones and we're the human race, and we need to think about that more. The biggest lie we ever were told, I think, that we're all separate races. We're no separate race. We're just slightly different colors of our skin depending on where we are.
Exactly.
And I don't know. Go out, do art, talk to people.
Take an art class.
Take an art class, yes. Go, because this is going to air. Probably you're going to watch this. The podcast will come out in December. The show will come out in November. So I'm sure people will be contacting you, afterwards. People find the show. Okay, I think I've probably eaten enough of your day up here. And I still got to film a little bit of B-roll, and I don't want to spend there too much longer. And I can, like I said, I can sit and talk to you forever. Thank you, Amy, for making time for me today. And answering all the questions that I had, and listening to me like a 12-year-old ask a bunch of questions that randomly come to me, because I don't plan any of this. I mean, I think about it, but I don't take notes. I've worked with too many people.
You read the room.
Come now and they take notes, and they're like, oh, I got to get this point and this point. And they're so stressed out. It's like, why? Just have a conversation.
You read the room. You organically just let it unfold, which is really good.
And thank you for watching this long. And subscribe my channel. Go find my show on PBS Western Reserve. I'm still on for the 9th year coming up. This is going to be year 9. Woo!
Send them a whole bunch of money.
Oh, that'd be great.
To continue doing this.
If I had unlimited funding, because I'm an independent producer, I could create so much more. That's the biggest struggle that I have, because right now I'm working in my bedroom. I can't get interns. I can't bring an intern to my bedroom, hey, college-age kid, come work in my bedroom. Maybe you can't do that stuff, and that's how I work, and people think I have my own studio. No, I don't. I got my daughter's bedroom, my bedroom, and a bathroom in the place I live. That's all I got, so I got to do what I can with it. Now, if I had a studio,
oh my God,
and I had people working with me, I could create so much content, and not just content, good content. I want to be a content creator, and it's hard for me to do it by myself. It is, because it's hard to get up and do it. I just to fight the battle, turn the camera on, and then I got to take all this stuff and jump into a computer and make it look pretty and edit.
Please make it look pretty.
Oh, it would look beautiful. Anyways, we're going to go and wrap this up. Thank you for making time for me today. Thank you for watching this far. Hey, go out, make art, do good things. Thank you.